This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, all right then. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. My name is Trudy. I'm from University for the Creative Arts. We have a ring here from the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts. Today's session is about study acting and drama in the UK. What we're covering today, just 1 second, there we go. So the agenda here is what we're going to discuss. We will talk about what is acting and what is the acting degrees in the UK and transferable skills you need, and also collaborations, things to consider, application and audition process, examples of student projects, careers in acting, and we will have a bit more introduction about to our universities. And we will leave plenty of time for you guys to asking a lot of questions. If you have any question during the session, please do put in the Q&A session or chat box. We will read out your questions later on. And one thing I have to remind you is please do not leave your personal information here, because this session is recorded. We will share with other students or other potential students who are interested to rewatch this session. Due to data protection, so we cannot share your personal information to other students. So please do not leave your personal information there. But we will show you our contact details as well. If you have any question, you also welcome to contact us directly as well. Right, here I'm passing on to Ray, and he will give you a bit more information about what are the acting courses, the drama courses, and then what we're offering in the UK. And he will talk a bit more information about the course as well.
Hello, everyone. So yeah, just to talk a little bit about the courses and a few things for you to consider as you're going through this process. Trudy and I will chip in with sort of examples from our own institutions, but obviously we can only talk about our two institutions. So we'll try and give some sort of generic information, but many of the examples that we give will relate to either LIPA or UCA. So first of all, the courses, when you're looking at different courses in the UK for acting, drama and other performing arts related courses, they can be very varied. So really think about the type of course that you want to go into, how practical a course it is that you're looking for, and what the career outcomes are of that course. So whilst this presentation is titled Acting and Drama, there is arguably a very big difference between the two. So really think about whether you want to go on to be a professional actor, which is what most of this content will relate to, perhaps whether it's more of a drama degree, which might be a little bit more generic, and may also include much more theoretical drama studies and less of the practical and the acting ability. The course title alone will not tell you everything that you need to know. And you can see just on the examples further down the screen, the courses that we teach at LIPA that relate to acting, and the courses at UCA which relate to acting. Again, these may sound very similar, but the content of these courses may well be very different. So do make sure that when you're doing the research, you're looking not only at the titles, but also the modules and the course content, because that does make a very big difference. You'll also see on the examples there that we both offer some foundation certificate pathways. These can be either a standalone course or integrated. So at LIPA, for example, we offer a 1-year foundation certificate in acting, which is for students who we feel have a lot of acting potential, but are not quite ready to go on to the undergraduate degree. So that is a level 3 foundation certificate acting course, which is a 1-year standalone program. Trudy will correct me if I say anything wrong here about UCAs, but it looks like they are an integrated foundation program. So in the UK, that's almost like a year 0, where there is progression guaranteed into the undergraduate program. I'm getting some nods there, so that's good. So again, there a very clear difference between the areas. So at LIPA, our undergraduate courses are BA Hons Acting, which is more focused towards stage acting, and then also acting with a specialism in screen and digital media, which is more focused obviously on screen. And Trudy can give you a little introduction to their courses.
Sure. Our course is more like if you are interested in only at acting or performance, obviously you can study the course which is listed there. But there is a design for theater and screen as well. If you want to involve more like theater things, and then you can choose either of them to study. But for acting performance, it will be more like I would say in general, including everything about acting. But if you just want to focusing on the theater or screen, then you can choose the second one. As Ray mentioned earlier, we do have a foundation courses as well. If you're not sure what you want to do at the beginning, you can always choose foundation year, which will give you the opportunity to taking a bit of time to deciding, and also you can identify which area you are really good at as well. I think foundation will be quite helpful for the students who are not sure at the beginning.
Perfect. Next slide then, please.
Sure.
So what does it mean for you to study acting as a degree? This is a question that you may be asking yourself. It may be a question that your parents are asking. It could be a question that your guidance counsellors or careers advisors are asking. So here's a few things for you to think about. Acting as a degree is continuous acting training. So this is not the type of course where you're coming into university or a training provider and maybe you're in a class for 9 or 12 hours per week. Continuous acting training is something that's all encompassing. You will be in classes really pretty much 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. In addition to that, you may well have additional time when you're in rehearsals and obviously performance times as well. So it's a very all-encompassing, very demanding type of training, much more so than sitting in a classroom studying drama studies or drama theory, for example, or something entirely classroom-based like management or history. As an acting student, you have a lot of creativity around devising your own work and creating your own work. And that, again, is a very important skill set to develop and grow as an acting student. And certainly at LIPA, it's something that we put a lot of focus and attention on, is that creating and devising your own work and your own opportunity, which is in itself a very strong transferable skill. As an acting student at most institutions, you will have frequent live performances where again, you are developing not only as an actor, but also as an individual, and you are working as a team in a collaborative environment. As an actor, you are also developing your artistic practice and cultural perspective, which is very, very important. Both of our institutions are also very internationally focused with a global cohort. So that artistic practice and cultural perspectives really feeds into the text that you're working on, the plays that you're performing, and everyone is bringing something different into that show and that experience. As an acting student, you also are taking advantage of industry connections that our institutions have and our faculty and teaching staff have. Again, at LIPA, for example, many of our acting staff are still working within the industry. We also have a range of external visiting lecturers who come in to teach certain modules or certain elements of a course who are still very much working in the industry on a full-time basis. And so you are making those connections right the way through the duration of the course. But all of this, crucially, is also underpinned by academic work. So there are some people out there who think that acting maybe isn't classed as an academic course, and it is a very practically led course, but it is an undergraduate degree in acting. So it is of the very highest caliber, and there is a certain standard of academic content in there in order for it to be classed as an undergraduate degree. Next slide, please. So again, just building on that, it is more than just acting, and you are learning an immense range and developing an immense range of transferable skills. As we come on to talk later on about employability and careers, you'll see that an acting or a drama degree can open up many opportunities for you, not only on the stage, but in the wider performing art industry. So there's just some examples here. So entrepreneurial skills and business management skills are very crucial. Again, there's a focus on you being able to create your own opportunities, go out and as a company perhaps, and put on your own shows and make yourself employable, which is again a focus of our courses at LIPA. You're also developing your front of house and your technical theatre skills, so building on what Trudy was saying around their sort of design related program. That's bringing in much of those elements around technical theatre and front of house skills, and potentially some things around events management and creativity. Some of you may look at going on to work as a teacher in some capacity, be that working with community groups, actor training, a variety of settings potentially there as well. But through all of this, you are developing your core skills, which any employer is looking for, which will stand you in really great stead as an actor or in any other industry. So such as communication skills, teamwork and collaboration. So both of our institutions have a range of creative and performing arts courses. As an actor or as a drama student, you are not working just within your discipline area. You are working with the set designers, the lighting, the music department, the costume, the props. So that collaboration and that teamwork is really, really crucial and beneficial. As an actor, you will have to have a lot of self-discipline and very, very good time management skills. Again, just to emphasize, these are very, I can't get my words out, very time-consuming, all-encompassing courses, and you need to be able to have that self-discipline and time management to be able to commit and to also succeed on these courses. You're also, as you can expect, developing your resilience skills, and then your presentation and communication skills, and your analytical, critical, and researching skills. So there's a lot more to it than just what you see on the stage, as I'm sure you all know and appreciate already. Next slide, please. So just to pick up on what I was saying about collaboration there, you are obviously working with students within your particular course and within your cohort of students, but you are also working with students from across a range of disciplines. So you can see there the two pictures on the screen are both from recent LIPA shows. You can see there all of the costume, the props, the lighting, the stage management that goes on behind the scenes is just as important as what's going on the stage. And so that collaboration is essential. As an acting student, you are also working to identify relevant groups and organizations. Again, either of our institutions can help you build those links and establish those relationships. We'll both work with a range of casting directors and casting companies to help you, but also that begins in the early stages of your degree, working with external theatre companies, developing and creating that new work for you to showcase. And of course, as well, you're also performing in external venues and locations, which again is a skill set in its own right. So you are working with internal and external stakeholders throughout the degree course. I think this is my last slide. So just a few things for you to consider when you're looking at institutions, when you're looking at different courses, and when you're comparing them against each other. So the first thing to mention is that an undergraduate degree in England is 3 years in duration. So I'm guessing most people listening today are in the US just because of the time zones. So the degree structure itself is a little different to what you may be used to. But the next thing to think about is the class size. We'll talk about that for each of our institutions later on. But really think about that relationship that you're building with your cohort of classmates, the performance opportunities that are linked into that, and also the relationships that you're building with your faculty and your teaching staff. And these courses are not the type of course where you're going to get lost in a crowd of 100 people. You are part of a small cohort of students that work very closely together from the off. In terms of your performance opportunities, that also means that you have greater performance opportunities. It's very unusual in the UK for shows to audition and for the best people to audition and get the part, and the weaker students not. It's much more of a level playing field in the UK. The other thing, of course, which is very important to mention when comparing the UK acting programs to US acting programs especially, is that we don't drop students halfway through. So when we're making you an offer to join our program, we are showing you our commitment to you for the duration of that degree. We don't drop you at the end of year 1 or the end of year 2. You have that progression right the way through to the end, subject obviously to you passing the modules and passing the course. Moving away from that, really start to think about the size and the quality of the studios that you've got access to, the rehearsal spaces that you've got access to, not just in terms of the teaching time, but also what access do you have to these facilities outside of your teaching time. It's very common for students to want to go in and rehearse either as a group or individually, and really think about, do you have access to do that? How much free time is there during the day for you to go in and use these rehearsal spaces if you have time between classes or rehearsals, for example? And then also think about external links, partnerships, what opportunities can the institutions provide to you in terms of external theatre companies that you get to work with, master classes and industry experts coming in. Perhaps it's specific visiting lecturers or specific themes that you want to focus on that they may have a particular strength in. So do research all of that in a little bit more detail before you make that initial application or expression of interest. So that's all from me, I think. I will hand over to Trudy, who's going to talk a little bit more about the application and the audition process.
Thank you, Ray. Now I'm talking about a bit more about the application process. So of course, both of our institution accept you can apply through UCAS if you apply for UJ course, and then we can, if you miss the deadline, don't worry, we can still accept your direct application through our main website. So once you need to I would say if you make applications, if there's anything, of course, you can contact our admissions. And also if you think you made any mistake or something, you can also contact both of us here, and then we will leave our contact details later on. And then you can contact us if you have any question about admission process. And also you may be asked to submit additional information to assess your suitability prior to the auditions. And especially if you apply through UCAS, probably you will receive information to submit audition information, because if you're applying for art design, like acting, performing, and also drama courses, you will need to submit your portfolio, which is audition. And it is important to meet the submission deadline as well. So for UCA, we don't really set up very tight deadline, but I would recommend to submit your application as soon as you got everything ready. And then of course, I believe both of institutions were quite flexible, and then Ray probably will give you a bit more information about their deadline as well. But for us, we require students to submit everything probably by June or July latest. It's really depending where you come from and how's your, the visa situation going on, how long gonna take. Like using China example, before the pandemic, there is a fast track services for visa application, which is probably easier for them. We can still accept late application, but if a student from other countries which doesn't have the fast track services, probably we require students to meet the deadlines and also complete everything on time, because we need to leave plenty of time for the visa process as well. So, sorry, Ray, do you want to add a bit more information?
I was just going to say for LIPA, in terms of the deadline, we don't have a deadline for applying. But when you do apply, we will request your self-tapes, and we do have a deadline on those, which is 10 working days, so 2 weeks from the point of requesting those through to you submitting those. Whilst we don't have an application deadline, if you were to apply to us in the April, May, June, probably the best outcome that we would be able to offer you would be a reserve waiting list place. So we would expect our acting programs to be full by April.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Do you want to add a bit more information about the process, about when they're likely to taking place? Because for the audition for UCA, we require submit the video, not really in-person audition. What about your institution? And then do you require actual in-person, or what sort of like the process for that?
Yeah, so we would have a 2-stage process. So stage 1 for everyone, whether you are applying from the UK or anywhere else in the world, is to submit a series of self-tapes. So we're looking for 3 2-minute self-tapes. And then from that point on, if you are invited to recall, we would either meet you in person in the UK if you wanted to come to the UK for your recall. We host a series of in-person overseas auditions if you wanted to participate in one of those. Or if not, most international applicants would be invited to a live online recall, and that's a one-to-one experience.
Okay, great, thank you. For UCA, probably will be the similar, but we only require for the portfolio, which is audition, with around 15 to 20 minutes. That's the minimum required, but we will talk a bit more later on. So for us, it will be similar also 2-stage. First of all, you submitted whatever documents you have, like academic qualifications, whatever you have is submitted to us, and then we will process for the conditional offer letter once we receive everything required document, including your audition, and then we can process further for the unconditional offer letter. And then if you need the cast, will be if you need a visa, that will become to the cut stage. So it's a bit more complicated, but do a bit more research to understand what exactly the application process. I believe all the UK universities are very friendly to offer you all the information through admission side. And also we are here to helping all the international students to go through the whole admissions journey as well. So do get in touch and do more research about that. And if you have a question, just reach out to us. And here is more information about audition video submission as well. So as Ray mentioned, you may invite for the recall live or in UK in person as well. But for this audition video, probably you need to think about the background and also the noises and also the lighting, sound and the picture quality as well. And when you're sending to us, if it's too big and probably you want to reduce the size a little bit, or if you think that's the best video or the audition I want to provide, you can also send us as a shared link. Just make sure if they're password protected, please do share your password as well. Otherwise, it will be cause admission process delayed as well. And also use a tripod to the film yourself, and then ensure your device is fully charged and plugged in as well. Just make sure when you making these auditions videos, make sure everything goes very smoothly as well. You don't waste a lot of your time to redo it. But Ray, do you want to add anything else for the audition part, the video submission?
Just to say that when you do apply, I imagine this is the same for UCA as well, that you'll get sent audition guidelines. They are, certainly in Lippa's case, they're available on our website, so you can read them before you even apply. But when you do receive those guidelines, it's really, really important that you read through them and you digest them and understand exactly what it is that the institutions are looking for you to submit and how they're looking for you to submit that video to us. Because as Trudy said, anything that goes wrong or isn't quite right, it does result in quite big delays. which isn't great for you, but it's not great for us either. So yeah, just read through those guidelines as carefully as you can. And if you do have any questions, don't just make an assumption. Do get in touch with the institution and double check anything that you need.
Yeah, I think for UCA, if you think a little explanation about your audition, not much, I would say, and because our other like portfolio and also film makings probably will require student give us a little bit of background in writing, but not too much. Please don't send an essay or whatever. Just few I would say a very simple paragraph just about, what it's about. You think it's helpful, but if you think your audition or video will explain everything, and then that will do. But if probably you will be required for recall or resubmit your auditions, and then there is always a guideline for you to, read through and make sure you're following everything. Each university, I would say, the audition will be quite standard for all the UK university who are offering those courses, but you also need to understand that in each institution may asking slightly different, but I think it is quite standard between UC and LAPD as well. Okay, yeah, great.
Sorry, Judy, there's a question that's come in which relates to this, so we'll just try and answer this now.
Sure. Yeah.
So the question is, do you prefer students to send YouTube clips, Vimeo, or files? Do you use Accepted or Slideroom or your own platforms? So I'll answer that first. Anyone who applies to LIPA gets access to our applicant portal. We would prefer you to put your clips onto YouTube, even though it's 3 speeches that we're looking for. We would ask you to merge those together into one video, edit those together into one video, so there's just one link. If it's on YouTube, as Trudy said, make sure it's public, so there's no passwords on there. If it's on Vimeo, that's absolutely fine. We just need you then to upload that link to your portal, so you don't actually upload the file itself, just the link. In terms of Accepted, the Accepted platform, which again is a largely US platform, we do use Accepted. We are quite active on there, but we don't use it for our auditions process, only for sort of brand raising and brand awareness, I guess. So yeah, everything is done through the LIPA portal.
Yeah. Thank you. I think it's the same as UC as well. You can send us at YouTube clips, and we do need you to submit it to our UCA applicant portal as well. And if you apply through UCAS, of course, you will be receiving a lot of information through UCAS, and also you will be receiving the portal login detail, everything once we received your application. So you will be able to track down your the portfolio review process, admission process, everything. So I believe both of institutions, our portal is quite user-friendly as well. It's quite easy, and we're always sending the guidelines to students how to using the portal as well. So we do require students to upload everything through through our applicant portal. But if you have any issues, trouble, our IT department always there to help to reset everything. And also, if you're really struggling, you can also, I think for UCA, you can send it to our other international admissions department as well. They will look at it, but the quicker way will be uploading to the applicant portal, because when you send to the admissions, if your file is too big, we may not receive it, but from your email inbox probably says it's already sent out, but we may never receive it. So it would be better to consider the size as well. And also the best way is just upload to the applicant portal. I think that's I think that's just about the UCA side. But if you have any questions about this, do contact us later and we can provide you more information. So I'm just carry on for the introduction. So here we are. UCA is a slightly bit closer to London, and also the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts is, as I'll say, close to Manchester. Ray, do you want to give a bit introduction about where exactly you are?
Yeah, we're in Liverpool in the northwest of England, so it's about 45-50 minutes from Manchester driving, and it's about 2 hours on the train from central London.
Great. Yes, so UCA, as you can see the location there. So we do have 4 campuses around London, but 2 campuses in Surrey and another 2 campuses in Kent. So for the performing arts, will be studied at the Farnham Surrey campus. Farnham is our biggest campus, so I will give you a bit more introduction later on, and then we will introduce our institution a bit more detailed. Right. Slides. There you go. I'm handing back to Ray, and then he will give you a bit more information about his institution and what they're offering, what their background.
Yeah, so just a little bit about LIPA. We are the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts, so we are for performers and those who make performance possible. We're located in Liverpool, which is in the northwest of England. So like I said, we don't consider ourselves close to London, but certainly by US standards, we are fairly close, only about 2 hours on the train. We are a small specialist institution, so we have around 1,000 students in total from over 40 countries worldwide, and about 1/3 of those come from outside of the UK. So a very globally diverse school, and that's particularly true within our acting courses as well. We have a large number of students from the US join us each year, so it's either our largest or our second largest international population in any given year. We are a relatively new school. We were co-founded in 1996 by Sir Paul McCartney, who remains our lead patron, and we are housed within his former high school building. So it's a very inspirational building to be in as a student or as a member of staff, and there really is, I don't think, anywhere else like it in the UK. We teach courses in a range of different areas. So our acting courses, we have 4 in total. We have 1 graduate school acting program, which I won't really talk about today unless people have questions about it. We then have the 1 foundation course, which again, unless people have questions about it, I won't touch on too much. But our 2 undergraduate programs, one is BA Honours in Acting, which is more focused towards stage and theatre acting, and the other is acting with a specialism in screen and digital media, which obviously is more focused on screen acting. For our BA Honours Acting programme, we have a total of around 36 places per year. That is split into 2 cohorts of 18 students. So you would be in your cohort and really in a class just of 18 students. For screen and digital media, there's just 1 cohort of 18 students. There's a fair amount of crossover between the 2 courses in terms of content. So I would say roughly 1/2 to 2/3 of the content is the same across the 2 degrees, especially in the early years. So you're still doing your core voice and movement training in both programs. You're still studying your core acting theories in both courses. It's really only as you progress through into secondary, especially into 3rd year, that you start to split off into the 2 areas. The picture that you can see there on the screen is of the Liverpool waterfront, so downtown Liverpool. That's about a 15-minute walk away from our campus. It's an incredible city. It's a very diverse and culturally rich city. So obviously we have a fantastic music scene harking back to the Beatles amongst other famous bands and singers, but also a very rich arts and theatre scene. And the city itself also doubles up as a filming location for either London or New York on a very frequent basis. If any of you have seen the latest Batman film, some of that was filmed in Liverpool, on that building on the left-hand side with the clocks on. That's the Liver building. So if you watch the Batman film, you'll see him climbing down the side of that building. If you go on to the next slide, please, you'll see a little bit more about our industry links and careers specifically for acting. So throughout either of our acting courses, you will benefit from very strong connections with theatres, companies, artists, casting agents, directors and writers. Our third year actors will take part in a series of showcases. So we do a showcase in Liverpool, a showcase in Manchester, and a showcase in London. And then our screen and digital media actors will obviously have a digital showreel and a digital showcase to go with that as well. As you go from year 1 into year 2, you really start to collaborate with established theatre companies. So recent examples are in 2018, our acting students worked with Marlowe, in 2019, Gecko, to devise a new public performance. We have a real strong focus at LIPA on creating and devising your own work and your own opportunities, both within the building and obviously after you've graduated as well. So we really put a focus on that new work. And if you Google Slunglow or Gecko, you'll see lots of examples of the work that they have produced. They're really high caliber, well-known theatre companies. And then again, as you go into year 3, you then start to really work with some of the brightest and best directors and writers in the country and beyond, often premiering new writing. And in addition to this, obviously, you have public performances in years 2 and 3. Throughout all 3 years of your programme, you are working with the highest caliber of staff, both in terms of LIPA teaching staff and also visiting professionals. You have access to an extended network to help you pursue your individual goals. So again, going back to what I was saying earlier on about class sizes and cohort sizes, you really very quickly at LIPA start to develop a very strong individual relationship with your faculty and with your course leader, and they will work with you to help you develop your own individual goals. Throughout our program, you also have access to masterclasses, and these are either acting specific or LIPA wide. So recent examples include Pippa Allington, Rowan Atkinson, Sir Ian McKellen, Dame Judi Dench did one recently. Admittedly, that was on Zoom because of COVID. More famous ones that you'll have heard of outside of acting, Sharon and Ozzy Osbourne have done one. Probably not meant to say, but we have Dua Lipa coming in a few weeks' time to do a masterclass. So please don't repeat that to anyone, even though this is being recorded. And then just a few examples of what our acting graduates have gone on to achieve. And I've tried to pick out here some quite recent graduates so that, again, this emphasises that you are going on and working in the industry as a professional actor. So Amy Murphy graduated from us in 2020. So obviously that's very recently, but also in the height of the pandemic. She went on to play the role of Nurse Kylie Madden in BBC's Holby City, which is a weekly drama series in the UK that's been running for 20 plus years. So she's a regular character in that. Greg Jones, who graduated in 2019, works a lot in radio. So he was a winner of the BBC Carlton Hobbs Bursary Award, and his radio credits include Middlemarch and The Archers, which is the longest running radio soap opera, I believe, in the world. And he also voiced one of the government and National Health Service COVID-19 information films. And then you also have Madeline, who graduated in 2015, who worked alongside Idris Elba in the Sky TV comedy Long Run, and has got various theatre credits to her name as well. So that's just a little bit of a few examples from us, but there's lots more on the website. And I'll hand back over to Trudy, who'll do a similar kind of pitch for UCA.
Thanks, Ray. Yes, for UCA, actually, we don't have that massive alumni at the moment. As our course, I would say we're starting probably quite recently. That's why our students still studying with us. But what I can tell you today is our students are very practical, very creative. They work on campus all the time. And I quite regularly showing our visitor around our campus. As you can see from the right-hand side, those are our campus pictures, just part of the studio plays, theaters, and the student quite regularly doing their sort of events or auditions, and then practice as well. They have a lot of classes, and then sort of a group project as well. And then for UCA, our courses are, as we mentioned, it's a very I would say collaboration with other students, especially for filmmaking students, makeup, hair design students, costume design. So they all work together to complete the whole project. And for our film industry, actually quite often we are quite close with Marlowe Studio, which is a part of Marlowe Studio in the UK. So our acting students or filmmaking students are involved in there as well. And then that's one of our sort of like live project, industry projects. So as you can see here, we have Industry Link, which is Farnham, Maltings, and then British Actors, and also Drama UK. So those are our industry link, which means when students study with us, they will have the opportunity to actually work in the industry. Of course, there will be more industries coming up under the pipeline as well. So students are quite often doing more like acting practice works in London as well, and also around Farnham. And for the career, of course, if you want to becoming like more like acting courses, acting careers, and then you can develop yourself into the area. But apart from that, there is more you can develop yourself into, like acting in corporate films, or can be like forming a company to create and a stage for your own work as well. So here is here's example showing you it's just our graduate students who are working on those areas at the moment. But I believe our students are very creative, and there will be more options or more career will be developed in the market as well. Just a little bit the information about our campus. As you can see the map on your right hand side corner, and so that's where it's a Farnham, which is, if you can see it on the map, it's called UCA Farnham. So it's really, really close to all the international airports and also central London as well. From Farnham to London, around 55 direction, 55 minutes, not hours, 55 minutes. Taking train to London Waterloo, which is quite central London. And the students quite regularly going to there to see the, the West End. There's theaters, and also there's a lot cinemas, and also other social life for students to attend. And also there is a lot of events, competition for students going to as well. So at the Farnham campus, we offering other courses like film, television, and also animation courses. It's quite popular at the moment. And other courses like craft, graphic design, music. Of course, we're also offering pathway courses we call pre-degree, which is for the students who are not sure what they're going to do at the moment. So they can taking on the foundation course and think about what exactly they want to do in the future. And at the bottom, as you can see here, that's a part of our studio. So which is we have a media building. So that building is majority offering for our music students, acting students, also filmmaking TV students. As you can see, there is a student doing a lot of group project over there. And the middle picture is more like a student doing a lot of broadcasting as well. Maybe they're doing acting, but they work with like students who doing lighting, filmmaking, TV production students, and they all doing all the work together. And also there is a music sound studio as well for students to use. All our studio are free to use. We never charge anything. And then the doors open until, I would say, late evening as well. It's depending how late student working in the studio. And if you just want a studio for yourself or for your group, you can pre-book that studio. And then we will, because everyone on the campus, they will have their student cards, which is they can get into this different studio. But if you pre-book, other students couldn't get in, just your group can using that space for a period of time. So this is our Farnham campus. And yes, here's our contact information. As I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions, do contact us. And also here's our website link as well. And I believe both of our institutions we have more information on our website. You can look at the campus facilities and also the studio place, and also I believe there is accommodation information over there as well if you look more information, and also there is more guidelines about auditions, your portfolio, and also the course structures, which exactly the course you are interested in. So there is a lot of information on our website. Please do go on there if you look more information. If you can't find anything, struggling, do emailing us, and we're happy to provide all the information to you. Okay, thank you. I think that's the end of the slides. That's it. I go back to this page so we can do the Q&A session, and you guys can take time to write down our contact information here.
So please do put in your questions either into the Q&A or into the chat box. Trudy and I are happy to answer those. The next question that is coming is around general admissions rates, number of applicants and number of accepted students. So I can try and answer that, and then Trudy can sort of give an answer for UCA. I will caveat this and say when I give the initial numbers, don't be too alarmed. So across both of our acting undergraduate courses, we would have 3 cohorts of 18 students. So that is about 54, 55 students in total. We would probably receive close to 1,000 applications for those 55 places. To start off with, not all of those 1,000 will even submit the stage 1 self-tapes. So you would be surprised how many of that 1,000 fall at the first hurdle and don't submit those self-tapes. I'd say it's probably like 40% maybe don't submit those self-tapes. So out of the ones that do submit the self-tapes, there is a fair proportion that do get invited to recall. I don't know the exact number, but we do invite as many as possible to recall. If we think that you've got some potential or we see something in you, then we would invite you to the recall. At that recall, we are then also considering you for both of our undergraduate programs, but also our foundation certificate in acting as well. So it's the same audition process, same recall process for all 3 of those courses. You will be considered for. Trudy?
Yes, for us, I will say I don't exactly have the number, but it's really depending on your audition really, and that's really important for the admission process. And I would say, if just using example, if we receive, I would say 100 applications for the course, because our university courses are quite diverse, and then like I said earlier, we're quite popular at architecture as well, and the game arts, and then a lot of students apply different courses, so we don't receive that high volume of application only for like acting performance. Probably I would say maximum 150 to 200 maximum. And our accept rate, I would say is quite high, because you know, as like we are in terms of, we're quite flexible with the admission process. So as long as your audition is good enough, we can accept you to the course. But as Ray said earlier, not all students, they complete their application process in the end. So that we may just, you know, have probably around 50 students maybe on the course, but we do intend to accept more students on the course. As you can see from the picture, we got a little bit more like class size as well, but students intend to divide into different groups as well. So we are not hosting quite a big number of students for one class, but we divide it into different groups. So every group students, and then they have their timetable, they attend in the class, and then basically class will be studio based, will be everything taught in studio as well. So the so I would say our accept rate is a bit quite high. So we try to accept as many students we can, but it's really based on the your audition and how good you are, and then are you suitable for this course. So some students may apply for the acting course, but they may quite toward to the filmmaking as well. So we do suggest students to think about what exactly you want to do, and then you need to show in your audition as well. And then, yeah, that's UCA. But if you need more information, please do get in touch with us, and then we can find more information. But that's the sort of information I knew so far.
Perfect. The next question is, can students do a double major? For example, can I major in acting and filmmaking at the same time? Good question. I'm guessing, Bruno, that you're in the US, because that's quite a US question. So what you can double major in the UK. However, what it has to be is it has to be a named combination on an institution's website. So if you cast your mind back to one of the first slides of the presentation where Trudy and I listed our courses, those are the courses and the combinations that we offer within acting. So at LIPA, for example, we do offer a filmmaking course. We also offer an acting course, but you cannot combine the two because it's not a combination that we teach. The other thing that I would bear in mind, just before I let Trudy answer as well, is acting at either of our schools, and really any professional acting course in the UK, is going to be very, very time consuming. You won't have time to do anything else on the side as a credit bearing module. You could definitely make films as a hobby or an interest, but you wouldn't be able to take outside classes because you simply just wouldn't have the time. So I think in your case, if you were looking at LIPA, we would be really saying to you, do you want to be in front of the camera or behind the camera? There's absolutely no reason why you cannot apply to both courses, submit your audition or your portfolio, depending on the course. And there's really no reason why you couldn't hold an offer for both courses, but at some point you would have to pick between the two.
Yeah, I think for UCA, exactly the same. If you want to do double major, I don't think you can within UK university at the moment. So if you are interested in acting or filmmaking, but you cannot combine those two major together, like we're saying as a course as well. I can say another question at next line. Right, for our acting courses, you will be very have a very close working relationship with filmmaking students, but unfortunately you cannot combine those two majors together. But UCA, we can offer students for the option subject as well, but have to be under the same discipline as well, like acting or film, kind of like film schools. So under the same discipline, probably you can choose some different subject from different majors as well. So you can combine, but you won't be able to have a wording certificate saying acting and filmmaking, but you can choose those options during your second year. But it's the final year, you need to focusing on the major you choose at the very beginning, combined with new skills you learned. And for filmmaking, I think it will be more, acting is more working on audition, and then also, you know, sort of like if you want the theater, you need to working on that side as well. But for filmmaking, more like how to make a film. So and also the courses are very intense as well, like project deadlines driven. So you will be really, really busy to doing all the projects with industries and also with your group, your classmates as well. I don't think you will have time to you know, to combine those two majors together. But as I said, if you interested in filmmaking and also interested in acting, probably you can do 3 years degree in acting or filmmaking, and then you can change to major for your master degree as well. As in the UK, our degree is 1 year, unless you want to study like say architecture, probably you need 2 years to complete that course. That's at UCA.
I'll also give a little plug and say that there is a session tomorrow on film and TV. So if you are interested in filmmaking, that is a good opportunity to come tomorrow and find out some more about that course and that major as well. Yeah, just to clarify, when we say course in the UK, that is the same as a major in the US. When we say module, that's like a class, so a specific class that you would take as part of that degree.
I think Amy also asking the recall, like expect in person or like virtual, especially for international students. I think that's what you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, so for LIPA, you're certainly not expected in person. A lot of our international applicants will submit, will do a live virtual recall on Teams. We also attend the unified auditions in New York and Chicago. So any American applicants who have applied to us in time to be invited would be allocated an audition time at either of those events if they were going, or if not, we are there for walk-in candidates subject to availability as well. But if you wanted to do it online, you can do. You're not at an advantage or a disadvantage by doing it online either. I think one of the great things that's come out of the last 2 years and the COVID situation is we are all so much more used to doing things online, and we're much better prepared than we ever used to be for this kind of online engagement. So there's no preference either way.
Okay, thank you, Ray. Another question is, are US students get a disadvantage getting agents or acting jobs in the UK after graduation due to visa requirement? I can quickly answer this question. So in the UK, we do provide graduate route visa as well, which is 2 years like work visa, full-time visa. There is no salary requirement. So once you graduated as an undergraduate student in the UK, you'll be able to apply for this visa. It's really simple, easy. And I can and also I believe both our institution are very practical courses, especially for acting or filmmaking. And you will be involved with a lot of industry project as well. And you will be work with the current industry very closely. So that's give you the opportunity to building up this career opportunity for the future after you graduated. And also you will be able to work with other international students very closely as well. And that's a big advantage for our current students, because I believe both of institutions we have international students from all around the world. And we have a student like from China, from Japan, from Korea, and also we have students who are actually UK student, British students on the course as well. So you will building up those connections. They already kind of have a probably connection with industry as well. So that will be an advantage for our students when they study with us. And also our tutor, our teacher are very industry focused as well. So they all work at their own career and at the same time teaching at university. So have the opportunity building up the close relationship with your tutor, which is very, very beneficial to our students as well. And also like UK now gives students extra 2 years to have this work opportunity in the UK. I believe I don't think there is disadvantage for, especially for US students or other international students as well. Yeah, that's from my side. Ray, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I would just say as well, building on what Trudy said, we have a lot of international students. At LIPA, we have a lot of American students. A fair number of those are acting students, so it's a fairly well-trodden path. And we're more than happy to put you in touch with, certainly, if you go through the application process, we're more than happy to put you in touch with current US students to talk about their experience on the course, but then also that those relationships build. So we have a relatively small but a decent sized alumni network in the US of actors, and you do tend to find that LIPA acting students and grads all stay in those circles together once they have graduated. So you're definitely not at a disadvantage at all. And if you were, to be frank, we wouldn't be doing this presentation. And we wouldn't attend auditions in the US, and we wouldn't have American students on our courses or any international students for that matter. I'm quite conscious of time, so the next question is, in the live recall, do you have to prepare a speech or a piece? Is it like an interview or on an audition? That's going to vary depending on the school that you're applying to. Again, you'll be sent guidelines. For LIPA, we ask you to deliver one of your speeches from your self-tapes. We'll give you some redirection to see how you cope with that redirection, how you react to it. We will also ask you to deliver a script from a TV scene, which you'll be given in advance. And then the rest of it is like an interview. It's very informal. It probably only lasts about 20-25 minutes, but those are the three main areas: your speech and redirection, your TV script, and then the interview. Trudy, I don't know if you have a recall.
I think, yeah, I never heard about a recall to in our admission process yet so far. So we just do ask student to resubmit the audition if academic is not happy with the first one they submitted. So we do provide feedback as well, just lets you know where they need to improve. So we don't, well, it's really depending on the audition really, but everything is a virtual, it's not in person, because we have a lot of international students. That's impossible for students travel to the UK to do the in-person audition really. But if you want to include speech within your audition, yes, you can. But if you think that will help, that's great. But it's quite, I would say, our portfolio for, our audition for UG, like undergraduate courses, are not strict as a master degree, because the reason you apply for the UG course is a way to prepare you to be ready for the best audition for your career. So we are not that strict for the audition at the UG level. But if you think about PJ, probably you need to think about a bit more like your best audition you can submit to us. But yeah, not in person. And if you want to include in speech, yes, you can, but it's not required at the moment.
And the final question is, what are the academic entry requirements for US students? So Kevin, we at LIPA don't have a minimum entry requirement, so we don't have a minimum GPA requirement. We don't require any standardized test scores. What we do require is that you complete high school and that you send us in your final high school transcript with your GPA obviously on there. Whether it's weighted or unweighted doesn't make a lot of difference to us. What does make all of the difference and where we put all of our importance is on that audition. So whether you could have a GPA of 4.0 and a not great audition, and we wouldn't invite you to recall, whereas you could have a GPA of 2.9 say, or 2.5 even, and audition amazingly well and receive an offer from us. So yeah, no minimum GPA requirement there or standardized test score.
Right, for us, for UC, I think we require US high school 2.8 GPA, but if you slice lower, we can APAL, like we call APAL, we can peel with academics. If you have a great audition, we can consider your place as well. So as Ray mentioned, we are quite flexible, and but it's really depending on the audition as well. And yeah, I can, if you need more information, do go on our website. There is a lot of details in there. I'm not particularly familiar that much with US degree, but I do understand that we don't require like what's that called? I think is SAT or ACT or AP, because due to the COVID closure, everything, but we don't require this at the moment. We can accept US high school diploma 2.8 GPA. That's the standard, but if you're slightly lower, we can still consider your applications at UC as well. I think that's all the question, Ray. I think that's, we answer everything. Oh, there is another one. Is there a minimum academic requirement for international students like IGCSE? What about your institution, Ray? Do you?
If you have taken IGCSEs, then we would look at your English and math. If you haven't, then no.
Yeah, I think it's same for UCA, but I'm not 100% sure at the moment. I can look into that for you, but you got our contact details here if you want to know, and I can send you more information. But I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's the same as a leopard. I think it's same. Okay, that's no more questions.
So yeah, that's all from us. Our contact details are on the website. So if you do have any more questions after today, please do get in touch. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll hopefully receive some applications from you guys for acting and potentially filmmaking as well. We'll just give a quick plug as well to tomorrow's presentation. So if you're interested in any other areas, such as film and TV, then do come along and register for some of tomorrow's presentations as well. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Bye.
Bye.